I'm Brian, and that's Dez. And every week on PSVR,
This week,
we take a look at the new VR games that are coming to the PlayStation Store this week.
we gather up all the trailers we can find, all the descriptions we can plagiarize, and condense them down to the short video for you.
Sometimes we look at delayed games, updates, DLC, or new game announcements.
So without further ado, here's PSVR This Week.
Get ready for the awesome VR experience of Summer Funland, with spectacular attractions and pure fun abound, including a crazy roller coaster, hilarious minigames, an incredibly fast-paced motorcycle ride through Gotham, an underwater voyage, and space trip. Summer Funland will blow you away. If all this sounds really familiar, well, it's because we covered Summer Funland on last week's episode of PSVR This Week, but it got delayed at the absolute last minute. No word on why, but rest assured, if everything goes according to plan, we should be enjoying this fun-filled theme park this Thursday. Vertigo Home is an endless runner. It's set in a 90s space western universe. Fly through and above a tunnel that you steer with your head to avoid collisions with bizarre and dangerous obstacles. This is VR, and the doors of perception are open. Vertigo Home, like Summer Funland, was also slated to launch last week, but because of a last-minute decision to lower the price, the release got pushed until Friday, with a new launch price of $12.99. Dick Wild 2 launched a couple weeks back to less than stellar reviews, but fear not, as the awesome team at Bulwark Games is committed to improving the game, adding content, and making sure their sequel lives up to the standard they've set for it. And after a few patches, the most recent being 1.03, which addressed some sound issues, controller vibration, and a host of smaller bugs, they're gradually making their way to that goal. Depending on who you talk to, the difficulty of Dick Wild 2 is still all over the map, from way too easy to way too hard, but a difficulty setting is also promised for a future update.
Friendship may come. From where you least expected.
It's real! It's no!
Ghost Giant circles around young Lewis, who's living on a sunflower farm together with his mother. When the story starts, he's incredibly lonely. That is, until he meets you, the Ghost Giant. A giant friend that only he can see, and who might be able to help him out of the tough spot that he's in. Ghost Giant looks amazing, and we're thrilled to announce that this PlayStation VR exclusive from Zoink Games will launch digitally on April 16th. But possibly even more exciting is that the physical version will be published by Perp Games, slated for a global release just 3 days later, on April 19th.
Really? Who are you?
I got the power, I got unlimited power. I got the power, I got unlimited power. I got the power, I got unlimited power.
Everyone's favorite VR music rhythm lightsaber game has seen a bunch of small, free updates since launch. But the first big DLC drop for Beat Saber still isn't here, something we've been patiently waiting for since December. But it sounds like the wait is almost over, because according to the official Beat Saber Twitter account, the first 10 songs should be hitting the PlayStation Store sometime this month.
From overhead, we're playing.
15th, 1976. I was in charge of the PR-03E experiment. One day, my fears turned into reality.
Set in both past and present, Prose is a story of friendship and duty, fear and dignity of the people facing the Soviet government and its echoes. Explore a Cold War-era military research facility, deal with the anomalies, solve the puzzles, and find out the answers. In Prose, you follow two connected stories. The first one happens in the 1970s, where a Soviet engineer who works at a secret research base is discovering its true purpose. The second part is set today, where a group of friends are also trying to learn the truth about the facility. Both parties will have to face a massive conspiracy that runs for decades and has left terrible consequences in its wake.
To protect ourselves and our families. We were so close to revealing the conspiracy. It was a war. A war between a few men and the Soviet system. We called ourselves Prose.
The best detective game of the 90s is back, rewritten, redesigned, and even more mesmerizing. Fleeing a bitter Paris, a detective accepts the invitation of an old friend and embarks for Japan aboard a client's sailboat. But a hurricane interrupts his trip in the middle of the Indian Ocean and forces him to dock on Maupiti, an island with paradisiacal landscapes well known to sailors. But when someone goes missing, you start an investigation and quickly discover that the island and its inhabitants are hiding quite a few secrets. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to PSVR this week.
We'll be back next week to tell you all about the VR games coming to the PlayStation Store.
But keep in mind that no one outside of Sony really knows what games are coming when.
But we'll do our best to keep you up to date each and every week on PSVR this week.